Good morning, nation. Today, we're talking how to stay mentally sharp and physically fit while building your business. Plus, we got something wild you're not going to see coming up today in the lab. Hey, there we go. Happy birthday, Kristina. Good morning. Mornings in the Lab is starting here today. It's Thursday, October 3rd. Mornings in the Lab with Keith Bilous, CMartyFit, Jon Anderson, producer Kristina Flynn, who's one day older today, and we are going to celebrate that in a few moments. Hey, coming up today, surviving entrepreneurship. The guy on the show today, almost died. True story. Almost died from being an entrepreneur. Oh, yes, that's the hook. Listen. Mental health, mental wellness is a real thing. Burnout is a real thing. Burnout will kill you. True story. So today we're talking about in the lab today. We're talking about how you can keep yourself mentally fit, mentally strong to achieve the greatness you want to achieve as an entrepreneur. And what do we got else going on here in the lab this morning? Let me pull up my notes. We got talking surviving mentally. We're not going to stop there. You know how we roll. There's always something fun or wild in the mix. And today we got a juicy one, ever hurt. Yeah, anyways, we got some laughs. We're going to roll into the accountability check-in. That's why we keep real. We keep our progress, keep our goals. And we got Colby Wegner joining us on center stage today. He's been through the entrepreneurial highs and lows. We'll share his story of how he keeps both his mind and his body strong while running a business. Don't sleep on hour two, nation. Oh no, I teased Kristina a few moments ago. Coming up on hour two, something that's going to blow you guys away. We're kind of talking about the future. We're talking about like the Terminator. We're talking about like things that are going to blow your mind in the second hour. Morning Loop Reloaded. That's something you're definitely going to want to stick around coming in the second hour. And of course, we've also got In the Gym with Jon and Marty. Yes, those guys are going to talk to you about functional training. We're not talking big compound lifts. We're not talking about getting abs in the kitchen. No, we're talking about functional training, gentlemen. We're talking about getting older and being able to climb up the mountain with our kids. We're talking about, getting down on the ground and doing some crawling when we're 60, 70, 80 years old. We're talking functional movements, stepping up the stairs, the basics. Coming up, and also Community Corner, we're going to celebrate LinkedIn, Substack folks in business and branding. Kristina and myself, that's me over here. So Kristina's over there. It's her birthday. And I'm going to sit over here. And we're going to have a good chat about business and branding. And of course, we're taking your comments. Like the channel, subscribe to the channel, drop all those comments all over the place. And I got to tell you guys, a week ago today, we dropped the biggest show in the history of Mornings in the Lab. And I got to thank you guys for continuing to tune in. Jon, Marty, Kristina, I wake up every single morning and I look and there's this video just taking off. We keep adding subscribers. We keep adding views. And people are sitting back going, I like this show. I like this Keith guy. I really enjoy Jon Anderson. That CMartyFit guy. Who's this dude? He is awesome. And then they're like, wow, this producer, Kristina Flynn, yeah, they're like, we like her on the show too. So guys, check out this show every single morning, 8 o'clock Eastern time, Monday to Friday. We get up every single day to help you guys achieve those big ass hairy goals. All right, let's bring in our friends here in the lab this morning. We got Marty, we got Johnny, we got Kristina. The team is all in black today. I got myself in the black shirt, the black and the red hat with the headphones on. Johnny's all in black on black on black. Tina's on black on black on black. And Marty, of course, is on black on black on black. And Marty and Jon, before we go any further, I thought that I would do this. Happy birthday, dear Tina.
Hey, dear Kristina. Happy birthday to you.
Yes.
Wow. Y'all are like Charlotte Church, the voice of an angel.
I'm glad you know.
So they call what four people? They call it a quartet, right? If it's four people, it's a quartet. What do they call it when it's only three?
Yeah, what's it called?
Anybody know?
A triplet.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Are we having technical difficulties?
I'm just turning my camera on over here. There we go. So I gotta wonder here, Kristina. So when you joined this show with us, I'm thinking that you're like, all right, I'm gonna join these show with these bunch of yahoos, these guys that are doing this thing, talking about whatever they're talking about, and then your birthday shows up, and you're looking on the calendar, go, oh, I get to hang out with these guys on my birthday, and then we show up and we serenade you with the sweet sounds of Keith, Marty, and Jon Anderson. Kristina Flynn.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Jon Anderson singing "Happy Birthday." You're welcome for that impression.
That's hilarious.
So, Kristina, I can guarantee.
There we go. That was pretty good.
That's true. That's true. I guarantee that. There's a different angle on the horizontal there, Jimmy. So I think you want to change the angle on the horizontal there, Jimmy. I'm not sure why that is, but anyway. So, Tina, I'm thinking to yourself as you were going through life, never did you think that you were going to get serenaded by Jon Anderson, or let alone Christopher Martin. You're like, holy smokes, it's like 2024, and I have this highlight on my calendar. Johnny and Marty, she will never forget this day for the rest of her life.
I hope it's as special to her as it is to us.
Yeah, I hope so.
Really,
you know, Christina's
really
hardcore. She might.
There we go.
How are you guys doing?
Softy. You know I'm a softy. Stop that.
That's right. That's right. How are you
We
guys
got
today?
both. I'm the same way. I got the tough exterior, but I'm a pussy inside.
Yes, there you go. Oh, there you go. Yes. I'm tough on the outside, but I'm a pussy on the inside. Jon Anderson.
That's it.
Marty.
Yeah, my mom tells me all the time, I'm the biggest, and I'm the biggest, and I'm the baddest, but I'm hands down the sweetest.
Oh man! So Johnny, speaking of mom, hey nation, Johnny is in a hotel room somewhere on the planet, and his lovely bride, who we've heard enough with, Terry, she's just having a nice little snooze over her shoulder. So nation, we gotta whisper, we gotta keep it quiet, so that Terry can get her sleeping, and we don't want to wake her up.
This was not this hotel was supposed to have a room where we had a living room and a bedroom, and we get here and they're like, "Oh, I thought you were coming tomorrow, you son of a bitch." You know,
Yo, Johnny's crazy, man.
Oh man, we got a bunch of comments here on the side here. Wow, Shelly Spence jumping in, So Young jumping in, Good Time jumping in. Everybody wishing Tina happy birthday this morning.
Thank
Tina,
you
let's
all.
get super special here today.
You know what? How can you not feel super special? And
Yes.
people are like, what's the point? I had somebody say to me, 41. Who celebrates 41? I'm like, fam.
What?
If you have number one, if you have children, you celebrate every day you're still alive. Second, in general, why can't we just celebrate every day that we're alive? Yeah, 41. 40 was up. 41. Let's go.
Oh, did you say?
But you're. Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm so proud of you, because when people say to me, "What do you want to do on your birthday?" I say, "I want to do what I do every day." So stay out of my fucking way.
Kristina, you know where I'm going with this.
What? No, I don't, and that terrifies me.
Well, so young, did we all plan this? No. Well, so we're gonna lean into this throughout the show today. We're talking mental health today. But next week, next Thursday, it is World Mental Health Day, and I have a problem with that
because it should be every day.
Oh!
Come on!
I agree.
Should.
It's just like this whole thing with fucking New Year's revolutions. Why wait till the fucking first of the year to start kicking ass? Come on, people.
I agree.
Marty, your turn, and we're gonna throw Kristina on stage. Marty.
Well, you should wake up every loop kicking ass. There's no loop that you shouldn't kick ass. Because what are you living for?
See, now we're getting
What are you living for, man? Come on.
I think
Hold on, Johnny. You know I'm a mama's boy.
Lay it out,
you know I'm a mama's boy, and my mom used to tell me back in the day, even though I was a challenged son of a bitch. I still woke up and kicked ass back then.
Break it down for us, Marty. Make it real.
Oh my God! Yes, yes.
Well, I was a chubby sucker, you know. So
no,
you know?
chubby son of a bitch, Marty.
Chubby son of a bitch, you know.
Chubby dumb son of a bitch.
Chubby dumb son of a bitch.
Oh my God! Yes.
Well, that was good.
So
That was good.
you know how we all feel about so listen, nation, Tina and I were having a great chat last night, and we all know we have all the love for Tina. We have all love for all of us, and mental health is nothing to joke about. Mental health is nothing to laugh about unless you're Jon Anderson or Marty doing an impression on Jon Anderson.
I love you, Johnny.
And I'm like, that's
I love it too, brother. That's the you know, when people start making imitations of me, then I know that they came to the right side of the fence.
Yeah,
exactly.
Good morning, Enzo. Good morning, good time. Good morning, Matthew, and so forth. But as I was saying there, Tina and I were chatting last night here. We're gonna talk this for a couple minutes, and we'll revisit the topic throughout the show and into Reloaded here. But Kristina and I were talking. She's like, "Hey, Keith, next Thursday is Mental Health Day, World Mental Health Day." And I'm like, "Fuck, I don't care. Like, so what? I hate that." And she's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, why do we have to save up, Jon and Marty? Why do we have to save up for 364 days a year to celebrate one day? That's like saying, okay, I'm going to train for 364 days and have one day of cheat day. No. How about we talk about and celebrate and lean into mental health every day, which is what we are trying to do here in the lab every single day." Now, hold on, Johnny. Hold on, Marty. Now, Kristina raised some very valid points, which we're going to throw on her on stage to talk about in a moment. But because she's right. She said, well, Keith, we don't talk enough about suicide. We don't talk enough about depression. We don't talk about mental illness. And she's right. I absolutely agree. Our ambitions are to keep going there. I'm hoping, along with Jon and Marty and Kristina, to build a platform where we can get away from celebrating one day a year and talking about it and creating a safe space for the entire year. Kristina?
I would love that. But the reality is that's not the case right now. And so I use the analogy of pride. Do I like the fact that every company and their mother changes their fucking logo to a rainbow and says that they support equity for LGBTQ people? No, I don't. But am I going to turn away their money? Am I going to turn away the visibility that they put on that specific day? No, I'm not. I can operate the way that I want to operate while still taking advantage of the eyeballs that are going to be on it, because that's just the way society is right now. That's the way that everything is going. I would love it to be different, but it's not different. Not yet.
Yeah, and listen, and that is a fair comment. I do not disagree with you there. So as I offered to Kristina, yes, many corporations have stood up to say, hey, we're going to celebrate one day. What I'm proposing, as we have just started building this airplane, Jon and Marty, that as we continue to build our platform of influence, I will be one happy son of a bitch, Jon Anderson, when we got people talking mental health and it becomes a whole year of mental health discussion instead of just one day. Johnny Anderson, brother.
You know, it's like the whole fucking world's got this so backwards. Jesus Christ. Labor Day. We're celebrating Labor Day, so we fucking take it off. How about work a little extra hard on Labor Day? What the fuck is wrong with everybody's mindset? It's going, everybody's running from it. Start running to it.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that. Marty?
Yeah, and I think this is, you know, this might be a little too far, but I think the mental health, I think we're in a mental health crisis, and I think that's leading to the obesity problem, if we're being honest, because a lot of people cope with alcohol. They cope
connected
with food.
For sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's definitely connected to it. They cope with a lot of unhealthy things, and I think if we if we prioritize mental health, you know, things will be different in this country and Canada.
Yes. Yeah, no, you're right, Marty. You're absolutely right. And listen, guys, great discussion. And here's what we're trying to do in this show, right? If we all agree, we're all not needed. So we welcome different points of view. I love hearing Kristina Flynn's point of view. I'm very compassionate for a gay woman who's like, Jesus, why does everybody have to put the fucking pride flag up once a year? Why can't y'all just be like this all year? And I can't disagree with her. So I certainly agree with Kristina's point of view. Like I said, and you know, we are hoping to build a platform where We're normalizing these concepts instead of rushing towards a one-day recognition of it. That's really ultimately the ambition here on the show. We're going to talk about it. Johnny.
You know what cures this whole fucking problem? Is get rid of the labels, including Monday, Tuesday, Mental Health Day, Labor Day. Just fucking do it all every day. Jesus Christ, how difficult is this shit?
Here's the thing. When you try to get rid of those labels, you also, in some ways, can risk erasing those people. Like I said to Keith the other day, he was like, "What do I call you?" Like if I'm referring to you,
no, I'm not saying forgive me. You're
but let's call it what it is. I would love if there were no labels, but there is labels. And you know what? I don't want you to say, "I don't see color." I don't want you to say, "I don't give a fuck who you sleep with," blah, 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 because then you're not being intentional about my reality and my lived experience of like, be fucking intentional about creating spaces of me.
Yes.
And me being lesbian, I don't represent everyone else. Me being all of these different labels, because then you're actually being intentional about what you do about it.
Yes. Marty.
So how's this? We either take our labels never or every freaking day.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think labels give us power. Like we should have labels. I think the issue with labels is when you lead with the label and you try to make it as if you're better than someone else, or you deserve a certain privilege over someone else. That's where I think labels are harmful. But I think it's beautiful. We should have different people, different beliefs, different colors, and different genders, everything. So I think labels are beautiful.
What a great discussion to kick the show off on Kristina's birthday. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Please like the channel, subscribe to the channel, comment on the channel, and consider the conversation we're having. This is a safe place where everybody's welcome. Just look around the table. We're all different. We all probably wouldn't hang out in a normal world, but we all came together. We're all friends. We're all having great dialogue from different points of view to help everybody get their ass out of bed and get moving throughout the day. And before we get to the accountability check-in, Tina, man, you got a bunch of fans here in the feed here. We got Shinku wishing you happy birthday. This is awesome, by the way. This just makes me fucking happy. Marty and John, we create this thing, and Marty, looking at you, brother, we create this thing out of the blue here, right? And it's coming together, and I wake up and I see these people tuning into our show, celebrating us, and now these strangers from on the planet wake up and hang out with us in the morning, Marty, and they're wishing Tina, like Tina, 4 months ago before we met, like you're not waking up thinking that, holy smokes, man, people are tuning in out of the blue, these strangers wishing you a happy birthday. Like that's a pretty freaking cool thing.
Hey, real quick, Keith, I know you got to move on, but remember when you called me about this show?
Yeah.
And you were like, just, think on it, take a couple days. I was like, I don't need a couple days. I'm in.
Yes, you were.
You sure you don't want to think about it? I'm like, I'm in, man. I'm with you. So it's pretty cool to see this now.
And he hasn't left. And the same thing happened to Jon Anderson. John shows up on the show with me and Marty one day, and he's like, "Hey, Keith, can you talk after? We have a chat after?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, I'm thinking maybe it might be kind of fun to hang out with you guys." Well, by the end of the 90-minute call, he's like, "Yeah, I'll be out every day." I'm like, "All right." And Johnny hasn't left either. So we got John and Marty, and then Flynn. Yeah, go ahead.
What I was saying is, I was thinking, there's something about this little nutty guy that's telling me I need to get a little closer.
I think we all thought that, Johnny. We all thought that.
All right.
I don't know what this guy is about, but
hey, me and Kristina thought you were a bot at first.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this Victor. Apparently the guy almost burnt himself out so much where he might have kicked the bucket. Not trying to make fun of it. Nope. Burnout's a real thing. Mental challenges, being an entrepreneur, all that shit burns you out, kills you. So we're going to got Colby Wegner join him here in a few moments. Kristina, I don't see Colby in the green room.
He's on the horizontal. Colby, we need you on both legs.
All right. We're back in
just open a second
90
tab.
seconds. There we go. Boom. Boom. Okay. So accountability checks. What a fun day today. Yeah. Where's my notes? There we go. All right. I got something for you guys today. Here's what it is. 5 rules for a fulfilling life. So most ambitious humans, they chase goals, work long hours, and think fulfillment will come after the next milestone. But if you're chasing the next goal for fulfillment, you're going to be miserable on most days. True story. Yeah, you're going to work 6 days, 7 days waiting for that next milestone. So you have to find joy in the process of every single day. The loop, as Johnny calls it. So here are 5 rules I live by for a fulfilling life while choosing my audacious goals. Number one, prioritize your health. If you just do that every single day, nothing else matters. You live an extra day, your family's around an extra day, you will be around an extra day. Take care of your health first. Kindness is an advantage. Oh, it's the number one pillar for me. If you're kind, I have all the time in the world for you. Kindness is an advantage. It's a competitive advantage. Hold yourself accountable. Yes, true. Hold yourself accountable and stay curious. And listen, nation, as Jon Anderson would say, and CMartyFit would say, you got to show up on the hard days. Showing up on the hard days are the ones you don't want to show up for, but those are the ones that produce the biggest results. So fulfillment doesn't depend on goals. Nope. It's built on the choices that you make every day. That's it. That's your accountability check and 5 rules for a fulfilling life with myself, Keith Bilous, Jon Anderson, CMartyFit, and our guest, Colby Wegner, joining us here in the lab. What a shaking, Colby Wegner.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thrilled to be here.
How are you? How are you? Well, I got to do something here because I missed my button, and it's this button right here. Boom. There he is. Yay. We're bringing Colby on stage.
I'm honored. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So where do you join us from today, Colby? Physically, geographically, where are you joining us from today on the planet, Colby?
I'm sitting in chilly Milwaukee, Wisconsin right now.
Oh, there you go. So I read a story this morning that Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the Green Bay Packers, they did a poll of NFL players, Marty. They did a poll of NFL players. The 2 worst places to go play football was Buffalo and Milwaukee because Green Bay, Colby, that's boring there. It's too cold. There's nothing to do there. And I'm like, wait a minute. That's like Winnipeg. All the hockey players come to Winnipeg and like, fuck, we hate Winnipeg. I'm like, yeah, Green Bay and Winnipeg are in the same box. So, Colby, is it as boring in Milwaukee as everybody says it is? I've been there, by the way. It wasn't boring for me.
Yeah, honestly, I've lived in New York, Chicago, Milwaukee. I thought it would be more boring than it is. Milwaukee's got plenty to offer.
There you go. So, Jon, Marty, Colby is the founder of the Autonomy Agency. Oh, there's a big word for us this morning. Autonomy Agency, helping marketing agency owners keep their clients happy and stress levels low while growing their business. After burning out twice, dude, not once. You didn't learn your lesson the first time, Colby. After burning out twice while running a multi-million-dollar agency, Colby shifted gears to focus on, Johnny, get this, man, balance, you'll love this, purpose, and sustainable growth. Now, Colby's coached countless agency owners on scaling from 6 to 7 figures with less stress using methods he's honed over 12 years and thousands of clients. He's all about building businesses around values and purpose, making him a game changer in the marketing world. Yet, Colby, in your journey, burnout almost knocked you down twice. So before we get into the big discussion and deep dive around surviving entrepreneurship, tips to staying mentally, physically, and fit, so forth, let's get into knowing Colby. What's shaking, Colby? Talk about your journey a little bit, pal.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much everything I've got is hard earned, right? It's pretty noisy out in the world. So like in terms of what I'm trying to do, like I just walked away from my full-time agency amicably, totally on my choice, kind of asked myself, like, how can I have the most impact? And I've had 1,000, 1,100 marketing clients in my career. And I was like, if I could actually help other agency owners, that impact is even larger than just serving clients directly. So I'm taking the leap and growing wings on Autonomy Agency. So Autonomy Agency is basically launching in like 2 weeks. It's not even fully live yet.
Yeah.
But all of that came from, grew up in the middle of nowhere, house with no air conditioning, gravel road kind of thing. Then went off to a Big Ten university, thought I needed to be a teacher or a farmer. So I chose teacher. And then got my first teaching job in Brooklyn, actually in New York, in Bed-Stuy, and I lasted like 4 months before I burnt out then as well, and just had to walk. So I have a history of burnout. But then I got into marketing just by taking a random like writing internship, and then became an employee there. That company got on Shark Tank, and then I just kind of stayed in the marketing world ever since then, right? So started my own agency 9 years ago with a couple other guys, and that's where the burnouts happened.
That's awesome. Johnny Anderson.
Yeah. So I guess you said the first burnout was as a teacher. So what kind of talk to us about, clearly this burnout, the pressure can come from many different angles or many different platforms. Talk to us a little bit about the one from teaching. I get the one from business. I totally get that. But teaching, seems, from what I can see, maybe a little more of a controllable environment, but clearly I'm mistaken.
Well, it's it's interesting coming from like middle of nowhere to then living in New York, which was one of those things where I had visited a couple of years before, and I was there for 2 hours, and I just looked around, and I think I just said out loud to no one in particular, I was like, I have to live here, right? And so that's where I got my teaching job. But the way it was it was my first job out of college, so I got hired as an assistant teacher at like a charter school. And I was pretty much the only white person there. I was really excited about that because I'd only been surrounded by people who looked like me where I grew up. So I was like, this is amazing to experience something new. But within 2 weeks, actually half the staff quit. So I went from an assistant teacher to a full-time teacher, responsible for 5th and 6th grade. So it was like 100 students. And no pay bump, didn't even get like the promotional title increase or anything like that. And I was making $40K a year in New York to work 16-hour days. And so 4 months doesn't seem like a lot, but I lasted, I don't know, 800% longer than most of the people. And I by the end, I couldn't keep like food down. And, I was engaged at the time. I was not a good fiance. I was kind of bottling it all up. And so the final week, just because I couldn't eat anything, I lost like 12 pounds in a week, which is that's considerable for someone of my size. I'm not like crazy heavy person. And so it was just kind of from just a physical point of view, a couple of people said I looked gaunt, and I was like, maybe this isn't sustainable. So again, jumped off a cliff with no plan. And then I got the writing internship about a month after that. And that got me into marketing. So happened for a reason, but didn't know it at the time.
No kidding. Marty.
So clearly a very unique teaching situation. It wasn't like the average teacher situation burned you up. Okay, that's what I was looking for. I was like, there's no way this dude's getting burned up because kids are running the hallway here, No,
well, I mean, and obviously teaching is one of those most rewarding, basically least paying jobs you could ever have, right? But if you're in a soup of a situation like I was, it was one of those things where is the reward? There's only downside.
Talk about so you made the transition from teaching. Did you have like a passion for writing, or was it like I just need to get a job and get into something? And then you kind of stuck around with marketing. And what was it about marketing that made you want to stick around and stay in that field?
Yeah, I love the question, Marty. Originally, I was just like, who will pay me to write? Because I was convinced I was going to write like the next great American novel or something. Right? And I was also desperate. So like it's not a good look to be engaged and for the woman of your dreams to be like, oh, you just left all this money, you're a deadbeat, like get something, right? I've always been a hard worker, but I did not feel good at the time. And so when someone just offered me a $300 a month, in New York, which is obviously poverty, to write some blogs, I was like, I'll take it. I can write. Let's give it a go. Right. And the way that looked was, basically, I was just sitting, among other 20 somethings in an office in Chinatown, and I saw what they were doing after about 20, 30 days. And so I just went to the owner and I was just like, hey, I think I can do what they do. I've never done it before, but it looks easy enough to me. I was like, can I have a job? And because it was one of those startups, they're like, yeah, sure. And so I basically like turned a $300 a month thing into a conversation of like, hey, I have no experience. And I think it was like $30K or something, still super low. But that was my fortune of just making the ask. And they said, yeah. So I never had any intention of going into marketing. I always wanted to write. And, the older I get, the less likely I'll write that great American novel. But I do write every day still. So, and mostly for like personal brand stuff, which we might get into later.
Awesome. Hey, you're hanging out with Colby Wegner, Keith Bilous, Jon Anderson, and CMartyFit. Mornings and Live with Keith and Friends, the only morning show to get you guys out of bed in the morning and help you prevent hitting that snooze button. If you hit the snooze button, you're already 9 minutes behind, so get your fucking ass out of bed right now. All right, it's time. It's time to do this. We got a young man on the show. His name's Christopher Martin. He's lifted a couple things in his life, Johnny. He's put them down, too. He's run a few times, too, and he's thrown a few basketballs in his life, too. And he's got some advice for you guys that's going to help you today.
Come on,
Marty,
man.
It's your time, brother. Go ahead and get it, brother. Go get it, Marty.
Let's do it, man. All right, we got the fitness tip for today. How to change your body in 1 year, the minimum effort needed. And 1 year is great because you're going to develop these habits and you're going to get to a point where you don't want to stop. Me and Johnny talk about this all the time, all right? If you want to see real changes in your body over the next year, you do not need to spend hours in the gym. You need to focus more on consistency. All right. The first thing you need to be consistent with, strength training. Focus on compound movement, squats, deadlifts, presses, and some pulls as well. All right. These are exercises that's going to hit multiple muscle groups. You're going to be efficient, get the best bang for your buck, and burn a lot of calories. Cardio 2 to 3 times a week. All right. You don't have to overdo cardio. Do you need cardio? Absolutely. But it should not be your focus. It should be sprinkled in with that foundation of strength training. And keep your cardio simple. You don't have to do backflips and burpees and jump off the steps. You don't need to do the crazy stuff you see the influencers doing. Walk on an incline. You can run. You can do cycling. You can do outside things, play with the kids, but get some cardio in. This is going to help you burn fat and improve your cardiovascular health. And last but not least, come on, man, we talk about it all the time. Nutrition. Eat more whole foods. Eat more lean protein. All right? Reduce the processed food. Reduce sitting at the drive-thru, Chick-fil-A, Popeyes, McDonald's. Cut the fast food out. Five Guys, okay? Small, consistent improvements in your diet will make a big impact over time, all right? But like I said earlier, the key is showing up consistently, all right? It's not a 30-day challenge, not a few weeks challenge, and watch your life change in a year. Start now, commit to the long game. That's the fitness tip for today.
That's the fitness tip of the day with Christopher Martin, CMartyFit. Hey, Marty, I saw Johnny just leave the screen there. We know he's sharing a hotel room with Terry. So I'm wondering if Johnny just runs over there and gives her a poke and then runs back to the screen there. And he's like, oh, hey, honey.
Is that what you think he did?
Are you kidding me? I'm taking a piss. Are you kidding me? Shit. Although I'll give you this and Mark, just check this out, Mark. We had a hotel room with a living room, so I could be, she could stay in the bedroom, and we show up here, and they're like, "Oh, I thought you guys were showing up tomorrow." Like, oh man,
that's crazy.
But, yeah, the good news about this place is the bathroom is so close. Normally, I'm like, I'm hustling to get back here when I'm at home because the bathroom's a hell of a long ways away, especially in the guest house. Christ, that's why I'm always late coming back when I'm in the studio.
But the $1 million question, Marty, and Colby, this is new to you. The $1 million question for Business Athlete Nation this morning is, Marty, does the hotel room have a bidet? Or is Johnny leaning into David Sauer's Royal Restrooms experience?
You know what? What I have to do, it's good. No bidet. First off, no bidet. So what I got to do is I got to sit down. I got to do my business. Then I just got to climb over about 2 steps away, get in a tub, and I turn that into my bidet.
Jesus mercy.
Can you get this guy? What's up with this guy, man?
Oh my God.
MacGyver with it.
This is awesome.
Oh
all right. This is Keith Bilous, CMartyFit, Jon Anderson, and Colby Wegner. We're talking using shower heads for bidets here, Mornings in a Lot, but what we're really talking about this morning is surviving entrepreneurship. Tips to stay mentally and physically fit in a world of constant just mental battles. Colby, 72% of entrepreneurs report mental health challenges like anxiety, depression, or burnout. That was a source from UC Berkeley, study in entrepreneur well-being. Colby, entrepreneurship often demands long hours and constant stress, leading to poor physical health choices. Colby, how has your personal experience, that you shared with us during Center Stage, how has it changed your approach to physical fitness today and maintaining a healthy lifestyle? A pointed question to you. Do you start your day taking care of your physical human first? And if the answer is no, why not? And then third, did you not learn your lesson? Colby Wegner.
Man, getting called out. Yeah, I like it. I will say that there's always more to do, right? Like even listening to Marty's segment there, like that was just a personal thing in my mind where it's like, you know what, he's absolutely right. There's more to be done. For me, I'll personally say, like, I do not enjoy working out at all, but it's really doesn't matter if you enjoy it or not, right? What they say, hard choices, easy life, easy choices, hard life. So it's kind of one of those things where I get David Goggins in my head and just like shut the hell up and get it done kind of thing most of the time. I drink like athletic greens every morning and that sort of stuff. I think a lot of it too was just like not getting the proper nutrients, or, you know, skipping meals was a very common thing. And occasionally I still do that. Again, it's a work in progress. I don't know if you ever solve it. So, short answer is there's much more to be done. Compared to myself 2 years ago, I'm miles better, right? So I kind of see it as incremental journey. I'm not like, I am not and don't necessarily see myself ever getting fully like addicted to the fitness side of things. It's more of a maintenance mode to make sure I can be optimal.
So before I flip to Jon and Marty, I'm actually quite amazed by your comments, Colby. So, is what's preventing the enjoyment from beating up the mind or beating up the body, and how that might translate into how it's building the business? Because for me, Colby, I did a big massive ride this morning. It was an endurance ride. I fucking was hating it, but it was teaching my mind to get through my 16-hour day today. Mm-hmm. Right. So I use and I know we talk with Jon and Marty all the single time. I use my hours in the morning to train my brain, train my body to get through my business. Yet sounds like how you're speaking about it is that you still, I don't know, struggle, but you still battle those feelings, Colby.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those, it's probably like one of the biggest, I don't want to say blind spots, but maybe resistance factors, right? Yeah. I will say, like, around the rest of my life, there's definitely a lot of movement and that sort of stuff. Like I'll go out and walk the dog for an hour every day and that sort of stuff. I have 3 young kids, so it's kind of like one of those things where I am just constantly moving, and you know, I get my weights from just carrying around. We had twin girls, so
there you go.
You carry them both simultaneously.
Yes.
And they're both like 20 pounds. So, you know, 40 pounds, it's not a ton, but it gets me going.
Yeah.
And I've always, you know, I've never really struggled with like being overweight or having high cholesterol or blood pressure or anything like that. I've always had a pretty solid like resting heart rate, aside from when I was crazy anxious and burnout. But, you know, it's typically around like in the 60, 70 range max when I'm operating. So there's so much more to do. Like there's a whole business around optimizing that. I think I'm just constantly like focused on what I need to do for the business. So it's more for me, because to be super like clear with and transparent, I still think I'm in the early stage of getting out of this. I don't think I'm thriving. I think I'm surviving with it. And so a lot of it, Keith, is probably the main thing, is just like looking at the signs ahead of time. The reason I burnt out is because when I said in my brain, I need a break, and ignored it, burnout. Like when I said I should eat this versus this and ignored it, burnout, right? So it's like kind of those little micro decisions versus like full commitment just yet. But you guys are almost challenging me subliminally to solve these problems a little bit quicker, I think.
Yeah. Johnny.
You know, what I remind myself is this in situations like this, in entrepreneurship, business, actually fucking everything. This is what I remind myself, is that it's like my body is a race car. And obviously, as entrepreneurs, as athletes, we like to win. Well, this race car has a checklist of maintenance that needs to be done every day. And if I don't maintain or keep this race car tuned, how the fuck do I ever expect I'm going to win? So I don't check my boxes. I'm going out on the track and just going through the fucking motions. I don't even have a fucking chance to win if I don't check my boxes every day. So that makes it real easy for me to check those boxes that may not be quite as exciting, because I'm just envisioning how good I'm going to feel when I'm out on the track winning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Marty, I know that you've had, you know, you've I don't want to say struggle with mental health, but you've had your burnout times in life where you're feeling really fucking burnt out and so forth. Marty, what have you done to address burnout, or address the feeling of the precipice of burnout, which is, okay, I feel it coming. I need to stop. Is it, you know, as I've gotten to know you, is it really just hitting the couch? Is it grabbing some food, some comfort? Is it going for a good lift? Is it hanging out with your buddies? Marty, what's something that you use, and you'd offer some advice maybe to Colby to consider when you're approaching that level of burnout? Marty.
Absolutely. Well, I'm not a father yet, so I mean, I just say what works for me. Maybe you can apply this to you. First thing is rest. I got to prioritize rest. You know, I'm probably not sleeping enough, because I tend to do that sometimes. So that's the first thing. And then the next thing I'm going to look at is, what am I operating highest in? And then why am I not operating in other areas at the same level? You know, so like I could be, you know, killing my workouts, but I'm not operating high in my business.
Yes.
I'm not operating high as a friend or as a son, right? So what do I need to do to get myself to operate at a high level for everything, every area of my life? And usually that gets me back going. I get my perspective back. You know, I always talk about, you know, I get back in the Bible. I'm a Christian, so I get back to what's my purpose? What am I living for? Am I even, is God happy with me right now? So those are probably the three biggest things. So that was rest, that was purpose, operating at a high level, and then my spiritual.
That's those are some great tips, man. And I love how you lean into rest, right? Because I know we talk about it often here on the show. We don't talk enough about sleep. We always talk about food and training and everything else. But like, wait a minute, let's go get some sleep. Oh no, if I sleep, I'm going to miss the world. So I love that Marty talks about we've got to lean into sleep. And I want to jump into the comments here quickly. We got Tangerine joining us from Philippines today. Good morning, Tangerine. Good to see you here. And Shinku is here as well. Shinku's always here. And Shinku slept 4 hours last night. I know, Marty and John, because Shinku was messaging us on the YouTube comments last night. And then I got up this morning and Shinku was there commenting again. And Shinku was like, yeah, you guys need to make a longer show. I'm like, Shinku, you need to get some sleep, man. Go to sleep, Shinku.
Get some longer sleep, bro.
And then Good Time is like, I like this. And Colby, I look to you, pal. Don't wait till the check engine light comes on. And what I'm suspecting by this comment when I see this from Good Time, this is perhaps kind of what maybe your life was going through, right, Colby? Is that you're going through life and it's like the check engine light come on and you're just ignoring it, right? And I think we've all done it as men, right? We get into the car and it's like, oh, the check engine light's on. Just keep driving. Just keep driving. And then the fucking car bucks like, oh man, the engine light was on. Right. So I like that Colby, a Good Time drops it in there. But I saw you nodding, Colby. You relate to that comment, don't you?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's, I mean, there's millions of times where I would say post burnout, where it's just like, I would be driving in the car actually with my wife. And I would be saying like, I think I'm catching a sign right now. And she would know what I mean. Yes. Like before I would be ignoring these things. And you're right. Like as men, stereotypical or not, how much are we just bottling up? Like where it's just, I'm not sharing every little detail because I have to look okay on the outside. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's one of those things where,
and I hate that you feel that way. I do. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I hate that you feel as a man that we have to put that guard up. Right. And I'm proud that you were vulnerable to share that with us, but I hate that you as a human had to go through that feeling.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's one of those things too, where it's like, I'm doing it so much less now. And that's why I wouldn't change anything. Right. Because I've come out the other side. Like when you said the 72%, that seems low to me.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, so the fact that I've come out the other side, that's why I had to fulfill my purpose. Like the reason I walked away from my agency just to kind of tie it all together 30 days ago was because I just asked myself the question. I was like, can you reach your full potential here or somewhere else?
Oh,
right? And so I didn't have an exact plan per se, but it was like, once I knew the answer to the question, that's where I am actually so grateful for the burnouts, because when you're in burnout, it's just like you're that knotted up ball of yarn and you have no idea which string to pull to get it unraveled. Yeah. Yeah. But when you have that as perspective, and I have what I call a true South story around teaching. I don't know if we have time for me to share that. It's like a minute long, but that one true South is what I compare almost everything against, to be like, damn, I'm lucky. I've got a ton of positive things going here. And because when I see what else there is, like I walk around now, guys, and it's 2024. It's an election year. A lot of people are pissed off right now.
Yeah.
Cut off in traffic. And I walk around now being like, man, why is everybody so angry? But 2 years ago, I was that all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they need support. It's not that they're bad people. It's that they're on their own.
That's right. Hey, you're hanging out with Colby Wegner, Keith and John, and CMartyFit here. Surviving Entrepreneurship Tips to Stay Mentally and Physically Fit. We've got AJ Zeglin, our mental psychotherapist, in the green room, joining us here in 2 minutes. Jon Anderson coming with a lifestyle tip in a minute as well. But I want to quickly throw a quick question on the screen here, Colby, for you from our friend Matthew. Before I get to that, Tangerine, thank you. I just love watching this channel, and we just love having you here. And if you haven't, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Nation, if you're tuning into the show for the first time, the morning show, Mornings Alive with Keith and Friends. We go 8 o'clock Eastern time, Monday to Friday. The only show to get you guys going and get you guys started and help you guys hit those big, audacious goals. And we got a question coming in from Matthew saying, Colby, How do you set limits without limiting yourself? Colby will answer that. We're going to go to a lifestyle break and then come back with AJ Zaglin to continue the conversation. Colby.
Yeah, setting limits without limiting yourself. That's a really good one, because a lot of us are always thinking, if I do less, I get less. I honestly think it's energy management more than anything, right? So many people I talk to, and I think it's just rather universal, if you haven't like gone out on a limb, is that you're tying your value to your time. And it's just not true. It's not the way to build a sustainable business, let alone a life that you want to scale. If you're trying to upscale your life, you can't tie your value to your time.
Yeah,
right? It takes a long time. So what you're really trying to transition to is like, what is, in terms of this question, what is the one thing that is the highest leverage today, right? So for me, I just write the top 3 things I'm trying to get done every single day on a piece of notebook paper, and then I put an exclamation point next to the highest leverage activity. That's the one I'm going to start with, right? And maybe I don't get the other 2 done. Many times I'm getting better at limiting myself to make sure I don't over plan. But if I don't get that one thing done today, I feel stagnant. So it's like, what's the highest leverage piece? And it's never going to be like, well, I need to just cross off this task. It's going to be the hard thing that most people wouldn't even attempt because it's too difficult. They'll hit a wall. They don't want to do it. So for me, it's like those little actions every day, because, it's the whole 1% better thing. You're 37 times better if you do it every day. Most people give up way before then. So it's just do the stuff in the dark that no one's watching. What's the highest leverage thing? So if you stack a bunch of high leverage things, even if nobody's watching, you worry about the action, not the result, you will not be limited. You'll go beyond what you actually set as a goal, because you didn't really have the result in mind to begin with. So there's no way you could know how amazing it will be when you get there.
Holy smokes. Colby Wegner is dropping truth bombs in this show this morning. Jon Anderson, CMartyFit. Johnny, I see you leaning into this because it's also time for this. Colby, you got to come on the show more often, man, because you are dropping truth after truth after truth.
You guys make it easy. You're fun to chat to.
Truth bombs with Colby Wegner, but right now it's the lifestyle tip with Jon Anderson.
All right, today's tip is inspired by today's conversation. Whether you're an entrepreneur or you just got a job that's stressful, or maybe you're a stay-at-home parent and life is stressful. We all have these pressure cooker type situations in our lives. And sometimes it feels like the walls are closing in. Feels like tomorrow is not going to come. Feels like you just don't know if you can do it. Well, here's the tip. If you're listening to this message, I want you to remind yourself, you've got a 100% survival rate, which means you've made it through the challenge before, and you'll make it through the challenge again. And the best part about it is, every time it happens, you get a little bit better. So embrace it and remind yourself you're going to be okay, because you have a 100% survival rate. Rock and roll.
100% survival rate with Jon Anderson. The lifestyle tip dropping every day here at 8:45 Eastern time. Hey, we're back with AJ Zaglin, Keith Bilous, Colby Wegner. We're talking surviving entrepreneurship tips to staying mentally and physically fit here this morning, and we've been leaning into Colby's story. Man, Colby is just dropping truth bombs left and right here on his struggles. AJ, I know you're joining us right now here, and AJ's our resident psychotherapist here in the lab. He's a strength coach, fitness coach, but most importantly, he's a mental health coach, helping you guys achieve those big ass goals, starting from up top here. And AJ, I'm not sure if you heard the beginning of the conversation, but Colby has been through a number of journeys in life where burnout has. When you got guys coming through your clinic talking about, trying to get through, overcoming hustle culture, overcoming, my mental challenges and so forth. We're having this big conversation today with Colby around battling mental illness. But I want to throw something else on the table, on the contrarian side of things. 30% of entrepreneurs report feeling physically exhausted, AJ, but believe it's necessary to sacrifice for success, which is this whole idea of, I gotta go. I don't need to be fit. I'm just gonna go fuel myself on Red Bull and Coke and high fat foods, and I'm gonna succeed because I'm going to outlast everybody else. I see Colby nodding here as I was saying that. AJ, Dude, you've been around the planet with enough guys. When you hear me say that, what's the stop, man? AJ.
Oh, sorry. It kind of froze on me there for a second. So I think I got the gist of what you were asking me, though.
Yeah. So sometimes people just kind of want to go, don't want to stop and reflect. And Colby had to learn to take signals to stop and reflect. What are you saying to that guy, AJ, who just doesn't want to stop, who thinks that he can just battle through it without having any mental awareness?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think there's almost like this perceived or this perception that it's part of the process, right? And that because, you know, they've heard other stories about other people sharing their stuff. This is what I went through. This is what, you know, and there's this kind of like badge of honor, like, yes. Well, yeah, I remember working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, never sleeping, never taking care of myself. The funny thing, though, is if we really look for the clues, like, and if we talk to entrepreneurs who have been successful for a long amount of time, what you'll find is that they're actually telling you, you know, to try to avoid doing that if you can. And that what they learned along the way is that they do have to take care of themselves. They have to treat themselves like they're someone they're responsible for taking care of. And sometimes, you know, we miss that part. We're so infatuated with like, hey, you know, how did Keith do this? How did Keith build his first business? Right. When really, you know, if we're really listening to what Keith is saying like, hey, yeah, this is what I did to build my first business. But if you really want to know, like, this is what I learned along the way, and this is what I do now. And I think that's what we should be focusing on more. Because when you talk to a lot of entrepreneurs that have had continued success over a period of time, they're not telling you to work 24 hours a day nonstop. Yes. Right? They're telling you, hey, this starts with me in the gym every morning, getting there, taking care of myself, working out, doing stuff like that. Right. But it's almost like we have this perceived notion that there's got to be this badge of honor where we got to go through this really tough time. And then we can feel like we're in the club now, you know, now we've yes. done what the people ahead of us have done. When really, you know, it's okay to not do exactly what the people ahead of us are doing. They did it, and hopefully we can learn from it, right? Yes.
Colby, when you hear AJ say that, is he just ringing true to you and you're going, yeah, I know, I'm still doing it my way? Or are you using these experiences to keep getting better, especially now that you're a father, right? And we know that we can tell our children, but it's really about what they see. So when you're hearing AJ speak and you're going through your own life experiences, again, a pointed question: have you learned some lessons from this, Colby?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's where I feel I was actually in my mind. I was thinking as AJ was speaking is like using those experiences to help a future generation, whether it's your yes. own kids or in my case, you know, obviously my own kids, they're all young though, 4 and under, but I've had a bunch of entry-level employees in my career, right? And we would have a marketing agency. They'd be having their client conversations. They'd be stressed out. And my wife over here is actually, she's a nurse practitioner on a pediatric oncology floor. So mm-hmm. she, you know, unfortunately, cancer sucks and a kid dies like once every 2 weeks, right? A kid. Mm-hmm. And so not only do I have that as kind of a unique perspective, but my previous burnouts as well. When I had nobody, it's like these people have somebody. They have me now where I can actually speak from experience. And so anytime they would seem overwhelmed, feel overwhelmed, they were always very open with me as well, which I wanted to create because I never had a boss who was very, you know, forthcoming and transparent with me. So I wanted to break that cycle as well. But I would just like, marketing is not life or death. I'd probably say it like once a week. Marketing is not life or death, right? You can pick this up tomorrow. If you're not good, you can't be good, right? So it's one of those things where it's almost having my personal experience, which is forcing me to actually inform the next generation. Even shows like this, like I feel honored to share, okay, it's my story, but like this is ridiculously common, right? And so if I can speak up at all to where somebody else can get help, because there is no other way. You don't have to go to a therapist, but you can't do it alone, right? Yeah. And so whatever it is, if you feel empowered to talk to somebody and be like, I'm not good right now, that is not a shameful act, right? And so what AJ's saying is, in terms of optimizing and all that sort of stuff, to me, the first thing is identification. Like you can absolutely get in the gym and you can eat healthier and all that stuff. What's going to preclude all of that? I need to fix stuff. I'm not good. I've identified that this is not the way it has to be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. AJ, some people often say that resilience is overrated. Resilience. Instead suggesting that, you got to constantly just push through it. You got to push through it. You got to push through it. AJ, is there a point when pushing through or pushing for resilience can actually be harmful, perhaps as Colby's life story has made out to be? And as somebody who's in your profession, AJ, what's the sign for the human to identify, which is stop being resilient, pause, look in the mirror, and slow down, and either A, go ask for help, or B, just stop what you're doing? Is there a consistent sign, AJ, that somebody should be made aware of as they're living their life?
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of depends on the individual, right? We all have a certain capacity. The great thing about it, though, is that resiliency, it is a learned skill, right? And that's not just an opinion. There's actually evidence now to back that up. We know there's a part of our brain, we call it the AMCC. It's the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. And what it does is actually, when they've studied that area of the brain, they see that people that have been through hard things and come out the other end, people that put themselves in challenging situations on a regular basis, whether it's, through working out in the gym or, challenging themselves to learn new information. There's a bunch of different ways that we can push ourselves to improve and be better. And their AMCC is better developed than someone who doesn't. Right. So you see people that are entrepreneurs, people that run businesses, people that are athletes, people that train. They have this area of the brain better developed. This area of the brain, they believe, is attributed to our resiliency, our, people call it mental toughness or grit or whatever you want to call it. But our belief that we can handle hard things and keep moving forward, and we can get through challenges. Right. So it is a learned skill. So, there's always balance, like anything else in life. We want to be able to put ourselves in situations where we are challenged and that we work through them. And that we better develop that skill of resiliency, right? So when more challenges come up in the future, we have more confidence that we're able to handle those things, right? That also doesn't mean, though, like building any skill, if we want to draw a parallel here to the gym, because I know you guys love the gym stuff and I love the gym stuff. Yeah. If we want to get to deadlifting 500 pounds and we understand that, hey, progressive overload, I could go and add a little bit of weight each week, 5 pounds each week. And it sounds minimal, but over the course of time, I'm going to, all those little wins, all those little steps are going to add up, and there's going to be a big difference, right? Be the same thing here where we're trying to build resiliency. We don't just walk in and be like, oh, well, I heard if I lift weights, I'm going to get stronger. I'm just going to go right to the 500-pound bar and try to pick it off the ground. We're not there yet, right? Yeah. So when we're talking about mentally, we still want to be able to present it to ourselves in smaller steps, right? We want those small progressions that we can make consistently day after day after day. When we look back over the course of days, weeks, months, years, we've had that, again, what we call in the gym, the theory of progressive overload, right? Tiny little wins or tiny incremental changes that are done consistently that add up to big changes, right? To meaningful progress.
That's it. Hey, you're hanging out with Keith Bilous, Jon Anderson, Colby Wegner, AJ Seguin, and CMartyFit here, Mornings in the Lab. Dan Rather, you're wondering what the show's all about. Dan Rather, this is the morning show, the only morning show on the planet to help you get out of bed, get yourself going, hit those big audacious goals, and not hit the fucking snooze button. You hit the snooze button, you're already 9 minutes behind. Get up, get going. That's what we do here, Real Deal. Dan Rather, good morning, Real Deal. Good morning, Matthew. Good morning, everybody else here in the feed. We got Real Deal coming in with, as a former freestyle wrestler, I approve of this message. And Colby, I want to offer this, and AJ, I became a business athlete as I met AJ years ago, and for me, one of the reasons that I know that I resonate very well with Jon and Marty is that I believe you overcome resilience, and you overcome, or you teach yourself to battle mental resiliency in the gym. I'm a big believer that's where it all starts, right? You start your day there. If you achieve nothing else, at least you've won that battle. But I think as an entrepreneur, that has been my secret to success. Yes, I work 16, 18-hour days. True story. As my day starts at 4 a.m., my day ends at 9, 10 o'clock every single day. However, I always find time every single morning for, as Jon and Marty like to say it, non-negotiables, which is myself first. Right. So I hit the gym, I hit my heart, and then the rest of the day comes. If I don't do that, then nothing else matters to me. So that would be the advice I would offer on the table. And before we get into Kristina's tip here in a second here, Jon, a quick comment from you, and Marty, comment for you before we wrap up the segment. Johnny.
Yeah, for sure. I think what people tend to miss in this whole thing is creating resilience. When you are keeping your own personal cup full, right? Then there's more of you to do what you need to do. But when you somehow miss the mark and you're filling up, cups outside of yourself first, there's nothing left of you, and then you fall apart. So if you start off with you, because you fill your personal cup, it's going to feed the other cups, and it's going to feed the other cups with a better you. So keep filling up your personal cup first.
Yeah. Easier said than done, Johnny, but you're bang on, brother. You're bang on. Marty, some words from you, brother.
Yeah, definitely. Resiliency is necessary for being a man and a woman, but this is a show for men. But it's necessary for being a man. You're going to have to learn that we're going to run into obstacles. Once you get over one obstacle, there's another one coming. So, there's no overcoming just, hey, I'm in a great part of life now. Everything's going to be smooth sailing. So you got to do what's necessary. So what AJ was talking about, the working out, helping your cognitive function, helping certain parts of your brain that are going to help you overcome that adversity. So resiliency is everything.
Yeah. AJ, final word to you, pal. Give some words of advice for Colby and for Business Athlete Nation tuning in this morning on, give somebody a tip to help them get through the day and stay mentally and physically fit. AJ.
Yeah, I think, what everyone was just kind of saying here, it's important to take care of yourself. And we often think that somehow there's a perception out there that if you take care of yourself, it's somehow selfish, right? And, the idea is we're not just responsible for ourselves, we're responsible for everyone around us. That might seem overwhelming, but we're a coworker, we're a father, a brother, a son, a friend. We have lots of responsibilities and lots of titles that we carry in our life. And we're responsible for everyone around us as well as ourselves. And by taking care of ourselves, we better uphold those responsibilities to everyone around us that we have in our life and in our social circles. So by not taking care of ourselves, it's almost more selfish than it is to actually take care of ourselves. And I think we got to have that perception shift, right? Taking that time to take care of ourselves is an integral piece, not just for ourselves, but to help us fulfill our responsibilities of who we are in our society.
Yes. And as we wrap this segment up, I'm glad you said that, AJ, and Kristina, bringing this back to the start of the show. If we are instilling this thought process every single day, we're not waiting 364 days to talk about it once a year. And that to me is this mindset here, which is let's do something about it daily instead of waiting for it. I'll start on Monday. No, start it today. All right, we'll wrap it up this segment with Keith, Jon, Marty, Colby, AJ, and Kristina Flynn. We're going to have Brian Bite coming up here quickly. And Dan Rather, I'm glad you're on the show here this morning. I'm just curious, what have you accomplished yet today? Anyways, so AJ, good to have you here this morning, brother. Awesome to have you here every Tuesday and Thursday here with the Minefield with AJ Zeglin. Marty, I'm laughing over here as well. Yes. Colby, thanks for joining us today as well, pal. What do you got going on today, brother, before you get out of here today?
Yeah, today it's all about meeting some people in person. Just that fills my cup a ton. So, COVID, if I learned anything from it, is get out of the house and go talk to people.
Good. And what did you take out of today's show, brother? Did you get something to walk out of today's show and go, fuck yeah, I gotta go lift my kids and go to the gym today? No.
too many things. I've already forgotten more than I could retain. But no, what I will say is, I think you guys are doing amazing work in terms of keeping this message moving. And if I can be one small cog of that, that's amazing. But you guys definitely challenged me personally to a little bit more fitness, a little bit less excuses.
Awesome. Hey, Colby, I got something for you, pal. Will you come back in a couple months and just
there we go, baby.
I'd like you to come back in a couple of months, and I'm gonna see what I say next with half truth and half joking. Come back in a couple of months so we can hold you accountable. And what I mean by that is come back so we can talk about it and we can say, hey man, what have you achieved since you were last on the show? How's that sound?
I'm there. This is the most fun I've had in a long time. So I appreciate you guys.
Awesome. Let's do that. And then right now we're gonna do this. Oh, AJ. So this is the part of the show. You're still new to this whole experience, Eglin. So this is the part where Tina gets her body moving and the dancing comes out. And hey, Colby and AJ, it's Kristina's birthday today. So let's not be ignorant of that part. Tina, you're right with the personal brand bite. AJ, thanks, brother. I'll text you later. Colby,
let's go,
thanks for joining on the show here today.
Thanks Colby.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. So today we are going to take your brand messaging from meh to fuck yeah. And we're going to do that with just 7 simple questions. So let's get into it. Be honest. Does your brand feel a little bit meh? Doesn't really feel like you. Deep down, I know that you're not average, and so do you. But if your profile isn't hitting, it's probably missing the mark on 7 questions your audience is asking, whether you realize it or not. So if you want to take your brand from meh to fuck yeah, you've got to answer these questions really, really clearly. Number 1, what do you talk about? Your audience needs to know exactly what you talked about. I know it seems simple, but so many of us get really, really bogged down in the details. You need to be crystal clear on your message and realize, is it getting lost in the noise, or do they actually know how to answer what the fuck I talk about? Second, why should I care? Not why you should care as a brand. Why should your audience care? It's not enough to talk. You need to show them why it matters to them. You need to be really clear on what are the benefits to them. Why does it make their life better? Why should they give a shit? 3, what makes you unique? There's a lot of people talking about a lot of things. I'm not the only one talking about personal brand. There's a shit ton of people talking about personal brand. So I need to be clear on what makes me unique, what sets me apart. In the sea of voices, what is my differentiator? And if you're not owning what makes you different, you're just going to blend in with the crowd. Number 4, do you know your shit? It's one thing to say, I've got these titles, I've got these degrees, I worked at these places. Credentials, experience, expertise, whatever it is, you can say whatever you want, but you have to back it up. You have to prove that you know your stuff. And people trust people who can back it up. Number 5, why do you care? This is now back to you. Why do you care? What is your motivation? Your audience wants to know, are you just in it for the money? Are you just in it for the followers or the engagement? Why do you care? What drives you? What motivates you? Share the why behind your brand. That's actually what makes it relatable. Number 6, we're almost there. Why should I trust you? This is where the proof comes into play. Like I said, you can say whatever you want. I could say I'm an MIT grad. You're not going to go searching out that information. The proof comes in the testimonials, the case studies, the real life results. Whatever shows that you're legit and that you're actually out here doing this work, not just talking about it, show it. People need that reason to trust you. And lastly, the one we all forget, what do I do next? Make an ask. CTA, call to action. You want to tell them what's the one thing that you want them to do if in that moment they are sparked to do something as a result of something that you said. Be clear. What link are they going to? So if your brand feels stuck in meh territory, check out and check yourself against these 7 questions. Are you answering them? If not, start there. When you get it right, trust me, your messaging will change. We want to take you from meh to fuck yeah. It's really that simple. I have entered my no fucks era, and I promise if you implement today's brand bite, you're well on your way to doing the same. You got this.
All right, there we go. Kristina Flynn with a personal brand bite message here this morning. We got it every single day here at 9 o'clock Eastern time, but I got this coming up here. I had a transition here song here. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I heard that music start and I thought, man, he's got another one of these pathetic sounds again, but it was a birthday song, so it was okay. I'll take it.
There we go. We're celebrating Kristina's birthday today.
Sensual.
We're It does, actually. Yes, it does. It's just so appropriate for the show this morning. Mornings at 11 with Keith and Friends here. It is Kristina's birthday this morning. We're celebrating. Kristina's turning 20 today on the show. We're happy to celebrate her birthday this morning. Hey, what a great conversation about mental health, right? And what I liked about that chat, you guys, is that there's no right or wrong. There's no answer. Right. It's just as long as we're trying to do things on a daily basis and talking about things on a daily basis, I think that is how we continue to bring awareness to this. Kristina, what are your thoughts on this and the conversation we've had so far today?
I agree. I mean, we're always talking in and around mental health, the things that you can do for self-care, the things that you can do to take care of yourself, because we know that leads to better outcomes in business and in life. But actually saying those words, that has a different connection with the audience. Actually saying mental health versus just talking around the idea, I think that's what makes a difference. And having people like Colby on, being real about a story, having people like AJ who knows the science, and then all of us being able to contribute to that conversation, there's huge value in that. And I think we can do it every day. It's little small steps, equal progress.
Yes, exactly. All right, so Jimmy, I'm putting something in your in the feed here for you, Jimmy. If you can pull it up on the horizontal for me, I got something fun I want to quickly go through with you guys. I teased it at the beginning of the show here. So some of us may or may not know about these new sunglasses that Meta has released onto the market, right? Sunglasses, regular glasses that have cameras in them, right? And I was reading my news last night and I was like, holy smokes, that's pretty freaky. Right. So to those of us like myself and Johnny grew up watching Arnold and the Terminator and all these science fiction movies, and people have glasses on when they can scan around, recognize somebody by just seeing them. And what I mean by that is that I could put my glasses on, look at Marty and look at John in a crowd, immediately know their name, where they live, know their address, know everything about them instantly and immediately. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to play this here quickly on the screen here for a couple minutes here. Jimmy, I'm going to pull it up here on the horizontal, on the vertical here, and we're going to rock and roll this here. So let's check this out.
To flex from just a photo of your face is staggering. To use it, you just put the glasses on. Then, as you walk by people, the glasses will detect when somebody's face is in frame. This photo is used to analyze them, and after a few seconds, their personal information pops up on your phone.
Right? Oh, this is me volunteering. June Lee, right? Yeah. Oh. This photo was great. This is like from. You're from Bergen County Academies. Yeah. Your Korean name is Ju-eun?
Cambridge Community Foundation. Oh, hi, ma'am. Wait, are you Betsy?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I think I met you through like the Cambridge Community Foundation, right? Yeah. It's great to meet you. I'm Kane.
Oh wait. So do you happen to be the person working on like minority stuff for like Muslims in India at all or something? Yeah. Really? Yeah. Are you Kashif? Yes. Oh, I've read your work before. It's super cool. I'm Andrew. Nice to meet you. Oh, I love.
Andrew, get in frame.
Oh, okay. But are you Sarah Chan? No. So here's how it works. We stream the video from the glasses straight to Instagram and have a computer program monitor the stream. We use AI to detect when we're looking at someone's face. Then we scour the internet to find more pictures of that person. Finally, we use data sources like online articles and voter registration databases to figure out their name, phone number, home address, and relatives' names. And it's all fed back to an app we wrote on our phone.
Using our glasses, we were able to identify dozens of people, including Harvard students, without them ever even knowing. Here's some of our favorites.
Okay, so are we ready for this? Are we ready for this technology? I can go down the street today. I could come on the show tomorrow and have these glasses on my head. So are we ready to go out into public? Because this is true, guys. Johnny, Marty, like put the glasses on, walk around, and immediately identify Kristina, where she lives, where she works, all of her information immediately and instantly in my glasses without her permission. What's the, so Kristina, I see you looking at me with the face of fear. I see Johnny looking for his fax machine. I see Marty going, what the fuck is going on right now? Kristina, what comes to mind when you see this happening because this is not science fiction. This exists this moment in time. I could go buy these glasses today. I might, as a matter of fact. So Kristina, what goes through mind when you see this?
It's terrifying. I don't think we can stop it from happening. But as somebody, like, I have kids, so immediately I'm like, fuck. Like, you think about things from a very different perspective. You think about, where are all the places that my data exists? Where are all the places that this is easy for these people? And so I never like to approach these things with fear, but I'll be honest in that this is giving me a sense of fear, because we know that there's a few people in this world that don't use technology advancements for good. They use it for evil. And so that's what I tend to think about. That's what makes me kind of terrified by this.
Yeah, Marty, think about yourself. So you spend a lot of time, making fun of goofiness happening in the gym. Could you imagine what this is going to do to gym culture and fitness culture and so forth? And Marty, when you see that, what comes to mind for you, brother?
Yeah, it's actually pretty dangerous. Even within the past 3 weeks, a girl just told me, a guy followed her to the gas station, and she had to call like one of her male friends to help her out. Because the guy was stalking her. Thank God she didn't go to her house and she realized that somebody was following her. But this is absolutely dangerous. Now, if you wanted to give these to cops in the military, that's one thing that there's still some issues with that, but that would make more sense. But just for a regular civilian to have it is crazy. I mean, not to like get crazy. I've had women pull up to my house unannounced. So it's just like, it's just not.
Maybe that's not a bad thing, Marty. Johnny, you have 3 daughters. You have 3 daughters. You have a grandchild. You're seeing this technology. You wear glasses. I wear glasses. Man, I know you and I joke all the time about the fax machine, but you're not a dumb fellow. You look to the future. This just must make your mind go, holy shit, and talk to your daughters about holy shit. You know what I mean? Like what comes to mind for you, Johnny, when you see this? And I know you're a positive fellow, and I want to lean into the positivity of this, but what do you think of this, Johnny?
I mean, my first thought is that humans are not made for this kind of stimulation. It's like, this is like taking our brains, which are already running on overdrive, and it's just going to like supercharge, the overstimulus problem. It's like, I mean, of course there's goods and bads to every scenario. But unfortunately, I guess the hard part is that we know that this is going to be used for bad and good. Yes. And if we could somehow, literally just use it for good, this would be an amazing tool. But unfortunately, it's, good and bad are always close. They're kissing cousins. And this thing looks like it can have, just like AI used properly, is an amazing tool. But, you take something like this, you put AI side by side in the wrong hands of the creative mind, man, that creative, that the creative mind on the wrong side of the fence could really do some damage. So I hope that as we keep getting deeper into this technology and the power of technology, that humanity starts to realize that, hey, we're all the same. We're all on the same team, and let's start treating each other that way.
Yeah. Hey, you're hanging out with Keith, Jon, CMartyFit, and Kristina Flynn here on Morning Loop Reloaded, the morning show here. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends here. We're talking just some crazy technology hitting the world. And guys, this reminds me of very much, and Johnny, I think you can relate to this because, again, I always laugh, we're the same age. This reminds me of when we were hearing about this thing coming, which was the internet. It's going to change the world. And then it was this, then these phones are coming out. Oh my God, there's cameras on the phones. People are going to take pictures of us all the time. So I think what's going to happen is that we're going to have to go through a societal, generational learning of new social etiquette, right? Cameras, and knowing that when you go to a stadium or arena or public, Kristina, or going to a park watching our kids playing football or soccer or baseball, there's going to be this new etiquette where every single action is being tracked by cameras. And we cannot get away from it. And it's just accepting what that's going to do and how it's going to impact us. So, but listen, we could talk about this forever, but we're not. We're going to get to the Jon and Marty fit tip. And right now, guys, we're going to talk functional training. You heard how we teased at the beginning of the show here. We spend a lot of time on this show about talking about, the good stuff happening in the gym, compound movements and International Chest Day and Squats Day and Legs Day. But what we want to talk about today, guys, is functional training. what's going to help you age gracefully? What's going to help you pick up those grandchildren as you're aging, right? Keith and Johnny are getting older. So we're not as worried about having, the big chest and big arms. Yes, we are, Johnny. But what we're most importantly worried about is being able to walk with our grandchildren when we're 70 and 80 and 90. And that doesn't happen by accident. It's accumulative efforts every single day. So John and Marty are going to get into the gym, talk about functional training. Keith and Kristina are going to get out for a few minutes, and we're going to come back with the community corner and come back and wrap up the show with business and branding with Keith and Kristina. So Kristina, let's get out of here. Let's let the boys get into the gym and teach Nation, Business Athlete Nation, about functional training. Does that sound a good plan? Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's go, baby.
Let's get it, man.
Well, what do you think, brother? I think we should start off by pointing out some of the things that everybody does at least every day, sometimes maybe multiple times per day. And that's just the simple movement of getting up and down off the toilet. That's an issue that, as people get older, they're having a hard time. And what mimics that? Squat.
Yes, sir.
What other movements does this totally? What other move? The squat will cover a whole lot of those functional movements that are going to need to be. Let's run down a list of that. The toilet, that's number one. What else?
Yeah, sitting down at your work desk. A lot of people work from home now. So
anytime you sit up and down. Anytime. How many times in a day do we find something to sit on? Hell, and it's that right there is the squat.
Even if you watch football.
You got it. You got it. How many times are you getting up to get your Cheetos? Well, think about that. When you can't get up to get your Cheetos because you didn't squat, you're going to be pretty bummed out.
Yeah. and then talk to the people that think that because their knees hurt or they have quote unquote bad knees. That's another conversation. They think they're not supposed to squat. And and this is I don't want to shit on any other trainers, but I've seen trainers allow their clients to get away with not doing squats because they have quote unquote bad knees. So what does that mean, and why should people squat in that situation?
Well, first off, the body was designed to be used in certain pathways, if you will. And generally speaking, and I've dealt with this a ton, and I agree with you, Mark, when people have bad knees, it's because they've been using that joint out of its natural path. So if you start to use that joint in its natural path, it will actually strengthen, regenerate. So when people come to me and they say, I can't squat, first thing I do is I say, okay, show me. And pretty much every time they're doing it wrong, we fix the technique, we get them on their heels so the weight is distributed. Basically, if the foot has the proper balance, that weight is going to go up and distribute properly through the knee, and it's not going to hurt the knee. It'll actually help the knee get stronger. So bottom line is, if you're having trouble with the squat, it's because you've been doing it wrong. You just need to have somebody help you figure it out. Now, the problem is there's a lot of trainers are going to say they know what they're doing in terms of teaching you how to do it, but it's not the case. I have never, ever had somebody who within about 15 minutes of me instructing them couldn't feel a huge difference in their knee once they learn how to squat properly. So if you found someone that help that understands, there'll be no question that they're getting you straightened out real quick. So learn to do it. So if it hurts, it's because you've been doing it wrong this whole time. And
it's a sign that you need to do it, period.
Yeah.
If your knee's hurting, you need to hit some squats.
And let's go real quick. Let's take that from, because the squat and the knees hurt. Let's go into let's dive into the next one, which we know real close second to the squat is the deadlift. Well, the deadlift,
absolutely.
You drop something on the ground. What are you going to do? You gonna just look at it, or you gonna bend over and pick that son of a bitch up? Well,
absolutely.
Deadlift, that's a mimic. If you got to pick something up, that's a pretty good mimic of that movement. And again, now we're going to hear the song, "Oh My Back, Oh My Back." Well, again, if you were doing this shit right, your back wouldn't hurt you. And if your back does hurt and you learn to do it right, it'll actually get stronger. You'll feel better. And when you drop a pen on the ground, you can pick that son of a bitch up rather than kicking it over to the wall and, somehow scaling down there to get a fingertip on it and trying to pick it up between your fingers. You're just going to be able to bend on down, pick that son of a bitch up. But the bottom line is these two movements alone will really impact a person's quality of life if they're not doing them, or if they are doing them, it's going to majorly impact their quality of life as they get older. Do you agree with that, brother?
Absolutely. And another thing, picking up kids. You want to pick your kids up or grandkids up. You're mimicking a deadlift. And then another thing, specifically, a lot of people don't understand the deadlift form. So I'm just going to try to explain best. 2 errors that I see when people deadlift. One, you have the bar out too far in front of you. So when you have the bar out too far in front of you, now you're putting strain on your lower back, opposed to letting those posterior chain muscles dominate the exercise. And then another one too is the angle of your knee. Your knee shouldn't be bending forward. Obviously you bend your knees in a deadlift, right? But the degree of your knee is going to be different than it is in the degree of a squat. So those are just 2 small errors that people mess up a lot in deadlifts, and that could probably lead to their injury.
Yeah, 100%. Again, if you use the back, use the knee in the proper path, it's going to get stronger, not weaker. Yep. So it's, and here's the thing. I had a client, unfortunately he passed away, but goodness, he trained with me until he was in his mid 80s, and he was squatting, deadlifting, and he was squatting, and not heavy, but he was squatting, deadlifting every week. And, he unfortunately died of cancer. So it just, boom, that's, took him away. But he lived a full quality of life because he was doing these movements that allowed him to have that functional strength to pretty much do what he wanted in his mid 80s, as to where, you got these dudes mid 80s, we got to have people help them to get to the toilet. They surely are going to stand up off the toilet by themselves. Yep. Well, I guess when it comes down to it, ask yourself this question. Do you really want somebody else helping you on the toilet, helping you wipe your ass and helping you stand up, or you want to take care of your own business when you get older? Well, if you want to take care of your own business, get on the squat and get on the dead.
People don't think about that, man. They just think about now and, avoiding the work now and how convenient it feels now, but it's going to catch up to you. And, right here, Good Time says, what do you guys think of stretch therapy? Went a few times, seemed to really help. Yeah, I go to stretch therapy as well, but, I wouldn't rely on stretch therapy. You got to do it yourself as well. And if you need assistance, you can do it by yourself with a resistance band. I stretch with a resistance band every morning before I do anything. So I got a whole routine that I do. I probably need to post it on my social media. But and I'll sprinkle in stretch therapy maybe once a month, maybe twice a month, just depending how I feel, just to get that extra assistance. But don't rely on that. You still got to do something on your own, unless you're going to stretch therapy 7 days a week. You still got to do something on your own. How you feel about that, Jon?
100%. And me, I like to simplify things. So, having a routine for your stretching, like Marty just talked about, that's great. For those of you that just need to, you need to start stretching, but you're kind of like, God, where do I start? Here's where you start. When you're done exercising, whatever muscle you train, that muscle is fatigued, that muscle is warm, spend 5 minutes stretching it and don't overthink it. If you train your chest, just start pulling your, we can't really see me, but pull your arms behind you. You can start moving around that muscle and you can feel where it's a little tight. Lean into that a little bit. Beauty of doing it right after training is it doesn't hurt as much as when you do it when the muscle's actually not fatigued. So that's a page out of my book. I stretch the muscle I train, takes me 5 minutes. And as long as I continue to do that, it's just a little habit stack. Train,
I want to
stretch,
add one thing.
Boom. I don't have any problems. Yeah, go ahead,
Keith,
brother.
Before you hop in, Keith, I want to add, also with functional movements, you got pushing and pulling. Yes. Push-ups, bench press, shoulder press, and pulling from every plane. You got pulling from the seated cable row. You got pull down / pull-ups, and then a bent over row as well. We could talk about it another time, but those are functional movements as well. And burpees are functional too. I don't care what these trainers are telling you. Burpees are a functional movement. That's all I got to say.
No, so that's actually, I was just going to ask you, Marty. You're fucking reading my mind. I was going, well, what about push and pulling from the functional side? Because again, as we're getting older, we need to pull some things sometimes. And as we get older, we need to push things from sometimes, right? So I love that you guys talked about, when we're going to the bathroom, having a shit, that's a squat, or bending over to tie our shoes. And I also love that you said, Marty, we always want to put off these things until later. So Johnny, just your mindset of habit stacking, right? Like every single day, how many chances do we get to do these little functional movements, right? But yet we just don't be mindful of them. As we wrap this segment out, I want to go to you guys for a tip each. John, what's one thing a dude listening right now can do throughout his day? Give him mindful. He's saying, hey, buddy, go for a shit and do what? Hang out longer down there? Like, give somebody a nugget. And then Marty, one nugget from you today. Johnny.
Well, I'd say the one of the simplest things to do is just avoid elevators and avoid, the escalator. Walk up steps. If you seek the steps, and just seeking the steps in your life will make a massive difference. Simple. Yeah. Very effective.
Yeah. It's funny, John, because there's somebody listening right now, and I hope this is true. There's somebody listening and they're driving or they heard the show later. Yes, go park over there. Don't park over there. Listen to what John said. Go park over there and walk further or go take the steps. Like, don't make the better decision for how you're going to be in 30 years from now. Marty.
I could talk about this all day.
Yes.
I'm going to try to make this quick. I try to leave as much on the table as I can. But lunges as well. Isolate those legs. All right. Yes. So do single leg training. We always have one side that's stronger than the other side. And then when you do your squats in the gym, do your squat as if you're actually sitting in the chair. Put the pressure on your heels. A lot of y'all squat in the gym and wonder why your knees hurt. You're not even squatting how you would squat in real life and your functional movements.
Yes.
So, I'll leave it at that. Before I go on.
We're gonna wrap the segment up, but Kristina, I want to look at you, kid, because our lone female on the gang here, you're a mother with kids. As you're hearing Jon and Marty talk about functional movements, right? And we talk about longevity, right? We want to go tobogganing with our kids or walking with our kids as we get older. Tina, does some of the things with Jon and Marty, do they hang in your head and you're like, yeah, okay, I'm going to take the stairs today, or I'm going to park further away, or I'm going to go carry Bray around? Like, do some of these accumulative suggestions add up for you, or is it mostly noise? And I'm kind of curious as you hear this, Kristina.
No, I think it shows you that, listen, if you're a parent, you're struggling to fit it all in, and not everyone can, and I know we all should, but not everyone can. Mm-hmm. And so little things that you can do in your life, like taking the stairs, paying attention, stretching when you've got 5 minutes, like those things are going to add up, and likely they're going to get you to a point where it doesn't exhaust you at the thought of actually then building the workout in, or it's going to get you the little pieces of progress that give you the confidence to say, okay, now I'm ready. Because as a parent, I mean, my mind shift entirely changed when I was realizing I was getting fucking like tennis elbow and shit from carrying my kids. I'm like, what? Like, I'm not that old. And a lot of us as parents, especially, we're older parents. We waited until longer. Right. I want to be there running with my kids. It's one of my favorite things to do as a mom. I pride myself on playing with my kids, not just standing there while they play. I'm the idiot that's on the jungle gym with them, trying to do the thing. I tried to do monkey bars the other day. Whew. I am not little anymore, but we did it. Me as a little girl, like, that's the stuff I want to be able to do. And these little things, they all add up to be able to continue to do those things.
That's great stuff, Katrina. And I'll tell you, Kristina, Lauren's got a comment here. She's like, carrying groceries instead of always, taking the cart. And it's like the old school farmer's walk. Listen, I've watched Lauren carry Brookie around and go to the store, Marty, and carry, right? And it's easier to take the cart. But, you pick the kid up, you go to the grocery store, and all those little movements accumulate. And then Marty, oh my God, Lauren's got jacked shoulders. Yeah, because she carried a kid around forever. And yeah, because she carries her groceries around the store. And Johnny, I'm thinking the same thing with Terry, right? It's these little accumulative moments every single day. And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, it's working for me, right? And I think that's the message with this, Kristina, which is that these little accumulative moments all add up, because we often talk about the accumulative moments that add up on the bad side, right? Always eating shitty food, you end up with diabetes. Always eating shitty food, you die of something, right? So it's this, okay, I'm going to take the stairs for the rest of my life. You're probably going to be better head doing it. So we got So Young coming in with saying, I always take the stairs. Good job, So Young. And good time with That's Awesome. So we clearly can talk about this forever. So we're going to pivot it to the end of the show here, the community corner. And we're going to walk out Jon and Marty and say goodbye while Keith and Kristina go to community corner, then branding and business. But let's wrap it up. Marty, Jon, Kristina, what a great show and a great conversation today. Marty, what did you take out of the show today, brother, as we wrap it up, pal?
Hey, man, resiliency, how important that is.
Yeah.
And then just, I always like the vulnerable side of people, just hearing Colby's story, about being a teacher, what he struggled with, because 9 times out of 10, someone is going to watch this and they're going through the same thing. Yes. And then we can offer insight, and he could give us some insight, and we're all just making each other better. I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah, I agree with you, Marty. I'm a big fan of Colby, man. I loved hearing his story, and I loved how vulnerable he was with us. That was exceptional. Johnny, what did you take out of today's show, brother, before you rock and roll and go wake up Terry?
Well, what I think I liked about today's show is the fact that we heard this from different perspectives and different people. And what really the message was is that you've got to take care of yourself first. It's not selfish, because when you take care of yourself first, you're a better you, so that you can be better for your loved ones. You can be better for your business. And more importantly, when you truly take care of yourself first, it's going to give you a much bigger barrier between you or where you currently are and burnout. And the resiliency and being able to continue to keep going is because you're keeping yourself finely tuned every day. And I just like the fact that we heard that from different people and different angles. And hopefully it resonated with everybody out there today.
Yeah, I'm with you, Johnny. Kristina, what did you take from today's show there? Besides your birthday wishes?
Thank you all.
Yes.
That makes me feel special.
Good.
It's quite nice. It's quite nice. For me, all of these things add up over time. I think many of us, Jon, you say it all the time, kids don't do what you say, they do what you do. And I think a lot of us grew up with parents that were just surviving. They were just doing their best to survive. And so a lot of us then are programmed to act like that, to go after whatever at any cost just to make ends meet. And I think that means that you need to take an intentional look at yourself. These things are programmed, which means probably the things that your body is guiding you to do, they don't always have your best interest in mind. So we have to start acknowledging where it is, self-awareness, and then saying, great, now I need to really reprogram this, because I've spent way more time doing it the wrong way and seeing everyone around me do it the wrong way. I'm going to have to do things differently for myself.
Yeah. That's good. That's real good.
That's really good. Well said, Kristina. Jon, Marty. Hey, Johnny, quickly before we go, brother. Quickly before we go, pal. You're hanging out with mom today. I love hearing this. Are you going to go see mom today, or did you go see mom last night? You going to go see her today?
We didn't make it we were actually got here late. There was traffic coming in. And so, we're going to hang out with her for the weekend. She's, she's my hero, man. I'm a mama's boy through.
Yes.
Good. She's coming up on 90 years old. I mean, just sharp as a tack. So it's I can already feel my heart warming up as I think about going over there once she wakes up.
You know what, nation? I think I can speak for Kristina and Marty. Did you guys not see Jon just light up when I asked the question? And he's like, you can see him just lighting up, right? So, Johnny, a favor from your team.
I love my mama. I love my mama.
And a favor, brother, take a picture of mom for us. Share. I'd love to see a picture of mom. Take a picture of mom today. That'd be awesome. Share with myself, Marty. That'd be great. So you go and just.
The funny thing is, you're going to look at this little lady and you're going to go, "How in the hell did you make that?"
All right, you guys get out of here. Marty, go tackle the day, brother. I know you're going to go win the day. Johnny, go say hi to mom for us. Go say hi to Terry for us. And we'll rock and roll tomorrow, Friday mornings in the lab. And we're working on a guest topic. If the guest topic doesn't work out, I think what we're going to do, boys, we are going to dissect and digest. Johnny, you don't know this. I'm just pulling it out there. I think we're going to digest and dissect the world's strongest man. And because Marty, and because we have one of the world's strongest men on our team, I'm not sure why we wouldn't digest that topic, Christopher Martin. So I think that's what we're going to do tomorrow. So I do have a guest that might make it in, but if they don't make it in, we're going to dig into that topic around, because I was looking at the science of it, Johnny. It's fascinating, man. I'm eager to put you on and ask some questions about it. So we'll get to that either tomorrow or next week, but that's what we're going to talk about. So Jon, Marty, you guys rock and roll today. Say hi to mom for us, and Kristina. Let's get on to Community Corner. All right. See you guys.
All right, y'all.
Cool.
See you guys. See you tomorrow.
All right. Marty's out. Jon is out. And Keith and Kristina are left here with Community Corner. Here is the part of the show where we like to take the old Mornings in the Lab light and shine it on awesome humans that are on these different platforms that we work on, one of them being LinkedIn. And Kristina, you put somebody onto the shelf this morning that helps leaders tell better stories. Global keynote speaker. Yeah, he might be the CEO of a company that I'm not going to mention just yet because I want to tease the whole thing. He might be a coach. He might be a best-selling author of, yeah, he might be an award-winning host and TEDx speaker. Wait a minute. Kristina, I'm all about the not a best-selling author, not a TEDx speaker, yet you put somebody on the plate here today who's going against all of my values. I'm like, what the hey? And this
because there's a difference. There's a difference between I'm a best-selling author in the category of how to eat ants versus like I'm a best-selling author in a real legitimate category on Amazon versus I'm a TEDx speaker with 1.2 million views on my actual TEDx talk. There's a big difference.
He's an award-winning keynote and TEDx speaker, and he's an author of Glow in the Dark. Yes, I said it. He's a storytelling coach. He works with leaders and teams to build authentic connections with their audiences. Kristina, I think I want to have this fellow in the lab. Today, Mornings in the Lab is happy to celebrate for the Creator Spotlight, the LinkedIn Creator Spotlight. Rock and roll, Jimmy. Let's get it rock and roll in here. Let's get on the stage and let's celebrate Mark LaRouste, who's helping leaders tell better stories, global keynote speaker. And Mark, my brother, well, I am not a best-selling author, and I am not a TEDx speaker. So you get all the props from me to you. But Kristina, why are we celebrating Mark today, who's going to connect with anyone? He masters the art of communication and storytelling for impact. Kristina, let's celebrate Mark today.
I'm such a huge fan of Mark and everything that he's doing. Anyone that knows me would not be shocked by this. He talks about storytelling. He talks about the value of your personal story. And I think what's really interesting about Mark is that he does the same thing himself, right? You can't go out there and tell people to tell their personal story without doing the same thing yourself. And so when you talk about his TEDx talk, he talks about how he wasn't expecting it to be anything. And then it kind of went viral. And the reason that it went viral is because he talked about the harsh realities of being an entrepreneur, the things that nobody else tells you, which we know there's so much value in that conversation. And he used that. I mean, he had been at it for a very long time before then, but he used it as a pivotal moment to be able to say, I'm going to lean into this. Actually, I'm going to lean into the opportunities that this platform of TED gives me. And now I think he just has a really practical, actionable, approachable way to be able to tell your story in a much clearer and better way, knowing that if you can't do that, if you cannot tell your story and you're just sticking to facts and figures, you are limiting the possibilities in your business, in your personal brand, in your life, by not being able to have that skill. And he sees it as one of the biggest things. And his content is really good. It's really educational, really helpful.
Awesome. Mark, a top public speaking voice from London, England. Mark, brother, we want to have you in the lab to celebrate you, get to know you, put you on center stage, perhaps get into a deep dive topic. But most importantly, maybe you have somebody you want to celebrate in Mornings in the Lab's Creator Spotlight, Mark LaRouste. All right. That's good. I like his content. Wow. I can see why you're a fan. Absolutely. I know you're a storyteller, and clearly Mark is as well. So, Kristina, let's continue pivoting the conversation and wrapping up our show with the last segment. It is where I decide to go sit in the chair and take the sunglasses off and become the business dude here, take the old entertaining hat off.
Lord, you become a different person.
Yeah. So, hey, Dan Rather wanted me to take the sunglasses off too. I'm like, no, Dan, this is the entertaining part of the show. Now we're into the business side. Now it's like, okay, he's got to be the bit. Now, oh, hey, Kristina, here's what it is. Now I'm Jay-Z going from Jay-Z the rapper to Jay-Z the business guy. No, it didn't work, did it? No. Okay. All right.
No,
So
you're not. Don't compare yourself.
What are we talking about? Oh, that one's not working. So we're going to do this one. Okay. So I'm going to take the glass off. I'm going to keep standing. So Kristina, what are we talking about today in our business and branding discussion today? We started this segment earlier this week. We are all about, I'm the business dude, you're the branding dude. And we are here to help people build their businesses, build their brands, and bring them together and drop nuggets of information. What are we chewing on today, my friend?
We are talking about the importance of digital networking to be able to grow personally and in your business. So we'll start very simply today, and I'll give you a lob ball. So 84% of people say that they would prefer to build relationships online before meeting someone in person. We talk about this idea of we are building this business online. It is a very different route than how you built your previous company, ICUC. You talked to me about you were on kind of this tour in person, hopping from Winnipeg, which there's not, and however many years ago, there wasn't a ton of direct flights anywhere from Winnipeg. No. And you are hopping on and going around all of Canada and the US, trying to build a network, trying to build a relationship. Now it's a little different. If you want to connect with somebody, typically you have the opportunity to do so. So I think social media platforms are allowing us to do that, but I want to initially get your thinking on that, just in the way that networking has changed from when you were first building your company ICUC to now.
Wow, it's incredible having this conversation. I was thinking about it yesterday. We live in a world where now it's never been easier to connect with people, right? And I don't know why we don't spend more time doing that. Although I also do know why, because it's expensive to go get on an airplane and go see people. So it's like, hey, I can go connect somebody on digitally, right? There are many that'll still complain, Kristina, that, oh, but I don't have the connection with somebody. I can't feel their presence. I can't really get to know them over a camera. I don't know if I fully agree with that. I think now has never been a better time to create presence and connect with people over a camera. Yes, it takes more work. Yes, it takes more effort to be intentional with your communication, but man, can you scale networking and can you scale connecting with humans? But Kristina, back when I was building ICUC, what was also different was that the internet was still coming out, right? So I didn't feel like I had a lot of competition. Now everybody's your competition. So not only are you networking with everybody, there's also somebody knocking on the door that's selling something similar to what you're selling. So there's a lot of things going on here. But also, Tina, I had somebody cold call me yesterday digitally. So here's the flip side to it, I think. I had somebody cold call me yesterday digitally, which I like to call as a pitch slap. And just out of the blue, the guy just tried to sell me something. You know my response is, Kristina, who are you? Because we live in a world now where there's no reason why we can't get to know each other before we are going to engage in a business conversation. Do you agree with that?
Right. Yeah, it's the difference between a transactional relationship and a relationship. Period. Yeah. To me, it's like that's no different than somebody coming up to me on the street and immediately trying to sell me something. I'm going to shut down. Yes. And I'm going to shut down, and there's like a whole science area that we could go about this, but that is our nervous system saying, I don't trust you. And if you get me to feel that way, you're never going to get me to buy something because you haven't earned my trust yet. And so there's a lot of people out there on social media trying to teach people how to build their brand. And one of the tactics that they talk about is send 100 cold DMs a day. Doesn't really matter. Just get it out there. You need reps. You need to get in people's inboxes. To me, that's the exact opposite of what I think is the most beneficial way to do it. Will it take longer? Yes, it will, because it takes time to build relationships with people. But will it lead to more effective conversations? Will it lead to that individual actually responding to you or actually trusting you? Yeah, it is. But that is the length of time it takes to do that. And not all entrepreneurs want to wait, and we're not all good at being patient. Talk to me about that. Yeah, build relationships, but like transactional, if I can just get 2 people to respond, maybe that's better off for me.
Yeah, well, so that to me, that's short-sighted, right? To me, that's a short-sighted thinking. Well, and it's interesting to hear you say it because I was trained in the world of Xerox cold calling, right? So I was trained on how to go selling photocopiers and selling fax machines, which was the law of numbers. Knock on doors, knock on doors, knock on doors. But I couldn't imagine sitting in an office building in 2024 and somebody walking into my building unannounced and cold calling me. It just seems really bizarre because I'm like, who are you and why are you walking up to me and having a conversation? Like, so I think this is the value of today's personal brand, Kristina, that if I'm watching, so that's how Christopher Martin got on this show, truthfully. I had Chris on the show here on Live in the Lab months ago, and then I watched his brand across his social platforms, and I'm like, man, this guy just shows up. Man, this guy just keeps pulling things together. And I got to know him. I got to know his digital personality, his personal brand digitally, which then made it easier for me to approach him to say, hey, do you want to do some work together? And then I've gotten to know him through the camera through a very intentional process. But had Chris not been putting himself out there and creating that brand persona, I don't know if I've ever would have leaned into wanting to work with him. So to me, that's the value. If you're an entrepreneur starting a business, you need to build your personal brand, because when I was out there building ICUC, yes, I was flying around all around the world, knocking on doors and seeing people, and my personal brand, there was no such thing as a personal brand back then. But now when most of our interactions are digital, you need to have something to bring to the table so somebody can get a 360 view of who you are, or at least who you want to put out there, Kristina Flynn.
Well, we talked about this earlier. You brought up the meta glasses, right? And I think what we're seeing with this kind of tech advancement is there's going to be a deterioration of trust. There already is.
Yes.
A big time deterioration of trust. And so I'm already guarded in my interactions with people, because I've learned, and all entrepreneurs who have been at it for a long time, unfortunately, you start pretty optimistic. Yes. Unfortunately, you start with lending a lot of trust to people. I did a lot of handshake deals. And what I learned from those things is that I can't fucking trust anyone. And it's not because people are bad people, but it comes down to the fact that if it is a consideration of this decision is going to impact this person's livelihood, they're always going to choose them. Always.
Yes.
You can't depend on other people. Yeah, it's just human nature. It just is. So what happens in entrepreneurship over time is you stop trusting anyone.
Yes.
And that is continuing along, whether you're in business or not. People don't trust folks. One way for you to get people more open to trusting you is building a relationship directly. But as you said, if somebody reaches out, they're going to go look you up. They're immediately going to look you up. And so what are you showing them about yourself that proves, like the questions we talked about earlier today in the brand bite, proves you know your shit, you're qualified, you're credible, you've got the right motivations? That just gets the conversation that much further, so that you don't have to build that over time. It's personal. And people want to buy from people.
People do want to buy from people. Let's look at the opposite side of this. So many would say that I just need to go meet people. I'm human. I got to go shake hands, and I got to go see people so I can build that personal relationship. Is that going to date itself effectively over time, Kristina? Or are we going to absolutely need to accept that digital networking, digital marketing, all of the overwhelming information coming our way is only getting worse than better? So as a result, it's about narrative control, controlling our narrative, creating who we are, putting out who we are, and then just moving that forward.
I mean, my favorite saying, it's and not or. So yes. Colby talked about it earlier. He gets a lot of energy from meeting with people. And I talk about like getting out of the computer. We spend all day sitting in this big environment around us, talking and looking at a screen. So that's not always really, really healthy. You need to figure out what fills your cup and what doesn't. For me, it's both. I like to meet people in person, and depending on the type of deal, I might want to meet them in person. But you and I are kind of the perfect example of that. We have never met in person, and we do business together. I have signed many multi-figure deals with people that I have never met in person. So that's why that thing of trust and deliberate, but also like innate trust in somebody, that's why it's so important, because you're never going to do a deal with somebody online if you don't trust them. You have to. And sometimes you're going to get burned, but whatever. So I think for me, it's a matter of, is it going to date itself? Yeah, it kind of already has. But I also think that's not about replacing it. It's about adding it. We can access each other in a global capacity much better than we used to be able to. My wife is consistently talking about how weird it is, how many internet friends I have. And I'm like, yeah, Maybe it is weird. But I love my internet friends. If you're not into it, you don't get it. But if you are, you realize the power of it.
This to me speaks generationally, I think, and I'm going to date mine because I'm the old dude amongst the two of. Oh, it's your birthday today. I'm 10. I got 10 years on you. I'm the old dude amongst. Yeah, I know. I'm the old dude amongst the two of us. But I enjoy my digital friends. I enjoy my digital connections. I enjoy, 99% of my social interactions are all digitally. I thoroughly enjoy it. I know most in my peer group are like, what the fuck, man? Like, don't you exist in the real world? No, I talk to people every single day from 4 a.m. until 10 p.m., but I do it with my fingers and my thumbs, and I do it digitally. I get a lot of fulfillment from that. Like it fills my cup. I know it's not for everybody, but what's worked for me, Kristina, and this is what I teach people when it comes to remote work or hybrid work or trying to build businesses this way, you have to be intentional. And I think you can look at me, right? So our relationship, I can hope that I'm hoping that you're seeing as we're working together, you're seeing intention with the way that I address you from time to time. You're seeing intention with the way that I'll send you a message from time to time, because that to me is no different than if we were in the real world. So I try to take the real world and move it digitally and go, okay, I really enjoy my time with Tina. So if I'm going to enjoy my time with Kristina, I'm going to have to be intentional about it digitally so I can build trust with her through the lens of a camera. And truthfully, people are like, man, you're good at this talking thing. No, I had to build a business, ICUC, Kristina, and I had to convince stakeholders to trust me by looking in the camera. Right. And there's a skill involved in that. But you got to be intentional. And that to me leans back to the importance of digital networking for personal business growth. If you're intentional, you're going to win. Because Kristina, in my experience, most aren't intentional. They just let it happen by accident. What are your thoughts on that?
They're not, and it's hard. It's hard to be intentional. It's hard to do things that you're not good at. If you don't have a lot of experience with this and you perhaps struggle socially, a lot of people have found that actually the digital relationship is easier to build if they struggle with in-person IRL social. So one, there's that. But you have to just realize that you're not going to get it right immediately. You have to put some intention behind it in order to prove to yourself that, okay, let's experiment. For example, on LinkedIn, when I connect with somebody, I don't just send them a connection request. I send them a connection request with a note and saying, hey, I checked out your profile. I actually see a lot of similarities between us. And then I list the similarities. Would love to connect. What do you think is the likelihood of somebody connecting with me if I do that and I've shown them that I've taken time out of my day to actually look at who they are and what they're about before connecting? That's the differentiator shit that we're talking about. 20 people that day are going to send that person a message and try to connect with them with nothing.
Yes.
I'm the one that's going to show them that I took the time out. That is the intentional shit that we're talking about. Does it take more time? Yes, 100%. But is it valuable? Way more valuable.
Yes. Well, Kristina, let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up with this. Let's give Nation a nugget. And I know I work to do this. I know you do as well, but I'll give you guys something to consider. As Kristina said, if you're connecting with people on LinkedIn, we live in a world of AI-generated text, AI-generated comments, AI-generated everything. It takes you less than a minute to hold your phone up. Hey, Kristina, I saw your LinkedIn profile. I just wanted to say, hey, what's shaking? My name is Keith. I'm not an AI-generated bot. I'm actually a real human being. I'm looking forward to seeing your content in my feeds. Awesome to meet you. Send. And now Kristina sees a video from Keith, sending a message to her. She knows I'm real. And here's most important, Kristina. I've taken time out of my day to give you time by me pausing to express myself to you. I'm only going to assume that you're going to go, holy shit, man. I got 20 messages from people today that send me texts. This dude paused to send me a video message. Wow. I want to lean in and learn more about him. Thoughts, Kristina?
But that's going to age because AI is going to allow me to send that video message and I don't have to do anything. So that's going to age. Where the difference is that I think whether it's text or video, it's not just saying, hey, I came across your profile. It's saying, hey, I came across your profile and specifically These are the areas that I think we have in common. This is the post that stood out for me. This is the specific content that I'm excited to see, because that's not scalable. I can't get AI without doing any work myself to take that information from your profile, currently anyways, and put it into that message. So again, I'm still not really trusting the video. I think people do a little bit, but you need to go that extended step and say, hey, I saw you. I saw your profile. I loved your point about XYZ. I see that we're both interested in storytelling. I see that, you know, you're frustrated with this just like I am. Would love to connect. And you're already showing them then that there's a value to the connection because there's a similarity. There's a shared interest. Personally, we will get along potentially.
Yes. Hey, you're hanging out with Keith and Kristina, business and branding, mornings and live with Keith and friends. We're wrapping up our show here today. Shinku's like, I'm mostly antisocial. You are mostly antisocial, Shinku, except on our show. And I appreciate that because you're always offering nuggets of content and conversation. So I appreciate you hanging out with us.
But that, I'm going to interrupt.
Yeah.
That definition is a dated definition because we say antisocial and we assume it based on this like old school definition of what is social. What is IRL? And I would say you're not at all antisocial. Chinku, you show up here every day, you comment, you participate in the conversation. Don't let those dated ideals of what is social and what is not social define who you are and what you're about.
Yeah. Well said, Kristina. Well said. What a great conversation today. What a great overall show. Honestly, we started the chat about, you know, why do we just have one day to talk about mental health? We should be talking about it all day. And we had some different points of views on that. I thought you had some great points of views on that. We continued with center stage. Colby, man, I was inspired by Colby, Kristina. I'm really glad that you introduced me to him on Creator Spotlight last week and to hear about his journey. Because, you know, Kristina, there's a lot of human beings that had a story like Colby. So to hear that today has been awesome. We talked about functional training with Jon and Marty, like the things that we need to do as we age as human beings. Really, really good conversation. AJ dropped in with Mind Fuel, giving Colby some things to think about on the mental side of things. And of course, we saw this crazy doxing situation where glasses are, you know, the next spatial computing platform. Nation, I got a message from Kristina on the side. She's like, I'm kind of freaked out by this. I'm like, yeah, I saw your face. So that's
I'm not I'm really freaked out. And I'm not normally freaked out. I'm real freaked out.
So we're going to be back tomorrow, guys. We're going to get out of here. We got some work to do. And we're back tomorrow for Mornings Live, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. The only show to help you guys get out of bed. Like, subscribe, comment on the channel. Shinku, I appreciate you. Good time, I appreciate you. So Young, everybody who's tuned in today. Lauren, I appreciate you. And I love you. And I will see you guys tomorrow morning. And if the guest doesn't work out, we're going to talk the world's strongest man. That's some fascinating stuff, Kristina. And hey, nation, Kristina's got a big day today. Not only is it her birthday, but she's got a big speech today. She's going to go up there and rock it on the stage, and I know she's going to kick some proverbial ass. So Tina, you go and do it, and I look forward to hearing about it later on. And I look forward to celebrating your day. And go have some fun with your family today, your kids and your beautiful wife, okay? Awesome. All right, Kristina, let's get this going here. All right.